Hello, my name's Sarah. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. This is my channel where I take you on my arty adventures, places I go, things I like to paint. I'll do some little demonstrations and just talk to you about how much I enjoy my artful life. So today I'm going to be painting a very large floral painting, finishing that off. I'm showing you some that I've varnished and framed, and I'm also going to take you to Norwich with me for a little tour around the older part of the city, so I hope you like that. As always, thank you for joining me, and if you like what you see, please give me a little thumbs up, and it'd be lovely if you could subscribe or maybe leave me a comment. I really enjoy painting little miniatures, and the four that you can see here are ready to be varnished, and I'm just getting them ready for my upcoming exhibition at Home Next to Sea, which is in a few weeks' time. I'll give you more details, but you can find those on my website. So just giving you a little close-up. I particularly love this one. It's a sunset at Home Next to Sea Beach, and then we have some fields and wildflowers there. To me, varnishing signifies that I've totally finished the painting, and it's going to go off and find a new home, hopefully. So once these are varnished, which I'll do very carefully, they will be popped into some frames and ready to go. So I like to varnish all in one direction. People have various different ways of doing this, but it's important once they're done, you leave them to dry flat, so that the varnish doesn't run or seep in any way. It's really fun to do, actually. To me, miniatures encapsulate everything that I do in painting, just in a tiny little package. They do take a long time to paint, actually, because you're painting really fine and detailed, quite controlled, just to get something small but very, very lovely. Yeah, definitely my favourite type of painting to do. Once they're dry and framed, I'll show them to you again. This painting has been sitting on a chair in the kitchen for quite some time, and basically I was really pleased with shadows in the jug, but I was scared to go to the next stage to add more of the foliage and more of the flowers. So it just sat there, and I started other paintings, some of which you've seen, and I decided today was the day when I had to pluck up courage and start to get those other flowers in. So I do really like this one. This is the problem when you like a painting and you're really scared you're going to ruin it. So I just wanted to push on with it and see what I could do. At this stage, it's difficult to see the flowers I'm putting in. They're a creamy white, but as you watch more of the painting, you'll see they gradually get a little bit stronger, and there's differentiation in the colour, and I will come back to them and add a little bit more darker tones further on in the painting. Unfortunately, the light in the studio isn't always great. It depends on the weather and how overcast it is, even though I've got lots of bright lights and I've got an overhead strip light. You can see all the different greens I'm mixing there. So there's some warm ones, some cool ones, and I decided to build up the petals and the foliage as I'm going along while I've got those different shades of green. I find it really helpful to keep moving around the painting and not concentrate on one spot. So if you keep working on one area, you can get really fussy and then another area doesn't look as good. So I try to move around and keep it fresh and gradually add details in different areas. People work in different ways, but that's the one that suits me when I'm painting flowers. So I don't get too tight with them. I want them to be nice and loose and textured. I also tend to use a lot smaller brushes when I'm working with florals to add those details. Landscapes tend to be more expressive marks, so I use larger brushes, and that does keep me a lot looser too, but florals definitely reach for the small ones. I'm going to pause there and I'm going to show you an afternoon in Norwich, and then I will continue with the painting after that. A little while ago, I visited Norwich, which is the only city in Norfolk, but a very beautiful one. I'd like to take you on a little wander through Elm Hill and down towards the river. It's one of the oldest parts of Norwich, with a rich history with cobbled streets and listed buildings. There are some pretty little shops and galleries too. I've come to the Jade Tree specifically to see my lovely friend Michelle's stoneware pottery. Michelle creates gorgeous pieces for the home, which are designed to be used. She also makes the most beautiful raku pots. Thank you to the lovely owner of the Jade Tree for letting me film. There's a wonderful selection of artisan jewellery, glass, textile and cards too. Just opposite is the wonderful bear shop. This intricate lino cut was in the window of Mandel's gallery, but unfortunately it was closed. With leaded windows, cobbled streets and all those old timbers, it's a bit like going back in time. This large bird was down by the river, and to start with I thought it was a kookaburra, but on closer inspection, when it flew away, it was just a jay. But it's still lovely to see, and definitely in the middle of the city. That's quite unusual. Obviously we don't have kookaburras in the UK. Not far over the bridge is Lucy's. It's a huge emporium of all things vintage. I ventured upstairs past this display where I spotted an art gallery sign. I wish I'd taken a closer look and perhaps brought it home with me. This is the booth I'd come to see though. It belongs to my friends Tom and Terry, whose YouTube channel some of you already know. So you might recognise some of their vintage finds, many of which have come from Spain and France. So if you are in the Norwich area, do go and take a look. There's all sorts of treasures there. Back to the painting, and I'm strengthening the stems and the leaves by adding slightly different variations in colour and tone and value. So they're getting darker, getting lighter, shifting the greens. At the moment I'm adding in a soft dark bluey green to the eucalyptus leaves, just to make them a little bit more interesting and three-dimensional. Now I'm mixing some deep dark purples, which I'll gradually lighten for these flowers here. And I start dark, and I always say don't be afraid of the dark when you're painting. Some people like to start mid value, and I like to start with my darkest value for the area that I'm painting and then gradually get lighter. With oil paint it's a lot easier to add light than it is dark once you've already got paint down, unless it's very dry. So as I'm painting, majority of what I'm painting today is wet in wet, so not like watercolour, but the paint is already wet, and adding in the finer details here with the palette knife. At this point I'm just about finished, so let's sort of leave it for a little while, step back, have a look, let it rest and see if I need to add any more details. Have I missed parts? Do I need to adjust anything? Before I show you the finished painting, look at this cheeky little guy. Is he watching me or am I watching him? Or both? I think he spotted me. So this is pretty much the finished painting. I might add a few tiny details once I've lived with it for a little while. But I'm pretty pleased with it. I hope you like it, and I'll just show you some of the details so you can see all that luscious texture. I promised I would show you these little paintings once they were framed up. So they're tiny really, they're 4 by 4 inches, 10 by 10 centimetres roughly. The actual paintings that is, and then you've got the frame around them. They're actually my favourite size, to be honest. My exhibition is only 3 weeks away, so it's getting quite nerve-wracking. I'll have everything done and everything will be dry and varnished, but I'm sure it will. Still have lots of small things to do to add to the list. But these paintings, they're going off to the exhibition, so I'm glad they're ready. I've just got to pop the backs on. I do love seeing them framed. It just adds a little extra to them. They get a little wow moment when you pop them in the frames. So hope you like them. If any of you are in Norfolk or Cambridgeshire, Lincolnshire, maybe you'd like to pop up. I know some people come from Suffolk as well. Some people come from Huntingdonshire, Leicestershire. Anyone who's on holiday, it's always lovely to see you. So it's at home next to the sea in the very pretty little village hall, and I will be popping more details up in my next vlog. But yeah, it'd be great to see some of you there.